Hey guys, welcome to the first ever feature podcast for the Arsenal Editor podcast. It's actually so new, we haven't named it yet. But it is going to be running alongside our Tuesday weekly podcast, which is going to be more analytical. But the idea of this is to have a guest on from the Arsenal community, really get to know them through a slightly different way than we normally would. So at the time of recording, we are sitting in between, a couple of big fixtures. We've got Olympiacos coming up this week. We've just drawn against Burnley, and we're actually sitting 10th in the league. But weirdly, I'm feeling quite positive about the whole team. I think the performances since the beginning of the year in particular have been really inspiring. I think we're quite close to doing something good. We're hoping these podcasts last a little bit longer than what our analytical podcast would, by the nature of it, and getting to know the guests that are coming on, and we can listen to this for a long time. So we're hoping I'm not biting my own words here or eating my own words about this positivity, and I'm sure we'll come out of it beating Olympiacos and and winning 3-0 in the North London derby coming up. So it's really exciting to have the first one, and I'm really looking forward to doing many of these, and we're really lucky, to be honest, because it's the first time we've ever done this. And so we've actually got someone at the top of the pillar of Arsenal journalism. So we're really happy to have the chief Arsenal reporter for football.london in Chris Wheatley. So welcome to the first ever feature podcast for the Arsenal Editor, Chris.
Thank you very much for having me, Toby. Pleasure is all mine.
Yeah, it's really good to meet you. So we had a little bit of a chat before this, and so we've run past you the way this is going to go. So in a really good way to get to know you, we'd like the fans to get to know you. We're going to run through a dream goal scenario. So how are we feeling about that?
Feeling fairly confident. I mean, when I play football, I'm not usually a striker. I usually play a little bit behind the forward man. So to be scoring a goal is a big thing, and to be debuting on this podcast as well is even bigger. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Well, you play just behind the striker. So are you kind of a number 10, or are you a forward really that's kind of sitting in partnership?
I'm a flawed number 10, I'd say. Yeah. I want to be Mesut Ozil, want to be Dennis Bergkamp, but think of a bad number 10, that's me.
I won't want to name any names, but I'm sure I'm fully confident in you, mate. Don't worry about it. Are you a Sunday League man, or do you still play very regularly, or a five-a-side? What are you saying?
Below Sunday League, I'm a Monday night football guy. I play with, or before COVID, I was playing with some 40-year-old men mostly, part of the opposition, and I play with some of my mates as well every Monday. So it's good fun. I mean, the level's not particularly high, so I'm pretty fast, which is, I guess, a good trait to have. But I reckon if you came along, you'd probably absolutely smash it, Toby, because the level is pretty poor.
You say that. I mean, I always regarded myself as someone who's quite fast, and then at the ripe old age of 28, I've had all sorts of different back problems. So what I've done is I've resorted to jumping in net in five-a-side, which I get quite a lot of praise for, I would like to say. But really, I'm just like a guy standing in quite a small goal in a league where people can't really finish. So it's not the hardest job in the world.
It's like those PE days, when you used to be in like year 6, year 7, and you kind of just have to go in goal because like everyone else is better than you. I feel like that sometimes. I sometimes have to play in goal, but yeah, reminds me of school.
Yeah, absolutely. I always felt like I was last picked. So, I mean, I don't know if you feel the same, but I hope not, because I'm hoping you're about to score a dream goal in this dream scenario. So just for the listeners' benefit, I sent this to you last night for you to have a quick read and have a think of what your dream goal would be. So we're going to run through the stadium. This could be a dream stadium. So it could be the Emirates, it could be Highbury, it could be the street behind your mum's back, behind your mum's garage that you used to play on when you were a kid. And then it could be the opponent, the occasion that we're going to be bringing it to, the goalkeeper you score against, and then we'll talk through the goal, all the way from the assist to the final kick, head, chest, whatever it may be, a celebration, a post-match interview one-liner, and then anything else you'd like to add. So let's let's kick this off. I'm excited. It's the first time we've done this. So talk me through the arena. Which stadium are we at? Where are we?
Well, I mean, you've kind of already spoiled it because you mentioned the stadium in your opening line. So I feel like I have to change it now. But look, I think Highbury has to be the stadium for me because it's like a romanticized, traditional, so many memories from Highbury. I mean, I was pretty young. I'm sure you were similar age as well when Arsenal was still playing at Highbury. But I do have some vague memories of some early games. I remember a game against Portsmouth. I can't remember the result, but I just remember being there. And yeah, no, like Highbury for me just brings up kind of like nice memories of when Arsenal were really successful. When Arsene Wenger was in charge. It's a strange one because, when I talk about Arsene Wenger and stuff, I always, when I say to my friends, he was almost like a father figure, like the father figure that I never had. And people laugh at that, but honestly, that's how it kind of feels. And if I get the chance to speak to Arsene Wenger, I would definitely tell him that as well. Because, yeah, he was in charge of Arsenal over, most of my life, the majority of my life. So I have that kind of deep affiliation with Highbury and Arsene Wenger. And yeah, for me, it'd just be, imagine scoring in front of the clock end. It'd be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, sorry for spoiling it and bringing it up, but it's I was fortunate enough to go once, but I think I don't know. I'm guessing I must have been about 14 when we moved. So I only went to one Crystal Palace game, which I can't really remember. I've got the paper ticket somewhere. I think we won 4-1. But the Emirates is where I kind of really, I think, really got into it in terms of, attending games and everything else, having the money to. But yeah, so do you have any game in particular that you remember really well? I don't suppose you ever attended a Champions League night or anything? Or...
No, I wish I did. I think I was... I think for me, because I lived a bit outside of London, it was always kind of difficult to get to the Highbury games. But I remember attending a couple of Premier League games. The Champions League game that I remember, I think it was the Real Madrid 0-0. Yeah. You remember that?
Yeah.
Because Real Madrid absolutely, I think they dominated that game, didn't they? And I think, it Jens Lehmann in goal, who was just outstanding, saving from Raul and co. And yeah, it was I remember that game because I think it was ITV. They used to show all the Champions League knockout games, and I just remember I was glued to the TV that season when Arsenal reached the Champions League final. You remember the Juventus match, the Real Madrid match, I think the Villarreal game as well.
Yeah,
I remember. So yeah, when I think of Highbury, I just think of that Champions League run because it was kind of magnificent when you think about it. That defense was like a makeshift back four made up of Eboue, Senderos, Flamini. I can't remember who was the other centre back.
Was it Toure or was it Campbell? Toure, actually, was in the final, wasn't he? I think, but it was a late Campbell. He was getting on a bit.
Yeah, so before that, Toure. But I mean, to have a defensive midfielder at left back and, Senderos, he gets a lot of critics for his time at Arsenal, but that defence was amazing. And when I think of Highbury, that's definitely what my mind goes back to.
Yeah, I feel like we must be very similar ages. That's exactly the season I affiliate with. It was the last one, I think, wasn't it? And I had a very, very good friend of mine, one of my best friends, Kwamina. He came over for every single leg of the Champions League after school. And we watched those games. And I remember in particular, obviously Real Madrid away, but in terms of Highbury, Real Madrid at home when they had Ronaldo, Beckham, and it was just insane. Zidane played, pretty sure he did. But for me, the Fabregas goal against Juventus it was either before or after Vieira got sent off. It was just the most, I think that's probably one of the most I've ever celebrated. And to affiliate Highbury to that, and actually outside the Champions League, that was the same season that we pipped Spurs to the post to the Champions League with the Lasagna Gate on the last day of the season. And I think Henry scored a hat-trick. And I think since then, any time that I do go to the Emirates, I pop round and see if I can sneak in the flat gate, so I can go to like that area and just see at the clock end,
Whoever's listening to this podcast, if let's hope it's not a security guard at the hybrid. No, yeah, but I get what you mean. I'm the same. Every time I've been back there, you just want to go in because it's so iconic. Like I did some filming out there a couple of years ago, and you kind of just stand and look and take it all in. And I feel like there's only a certain few people, well, obviously only Arsenal fans, who are really going to do that. So yeah, it's some amazing memories.
Yeah, it's a real like feeling. I don't have a word to describe it, but there's something so nostalgic, and maybe that's the word. But when you go there, and it's just, I don't know, it just really grabs you, and it's something. It just really affiliates to my childhood, and it sounds like yours as well. Alrighty, so we're at Highbury. Who are we facing? Who's our opponent for the day?
I don't want this to be a predictable podcast, but I did put down Real Madrid because they are like the biggest team in terms of fan base in the world, and you just think, as a kid, playing against Real Madrid is a dream for not only every professional football player, but also the fans. You want to see your team come up against Real Madrid because it's the biggest match possible, really. So I mean, Arsenal, obviously, we've just spoken about it, but those games, especially at the Bernabeu with Thierry Henry and that iconic commentary, I think it was from Peter Champion or Clive Tildesley on ITV. The Thierry Henry scored at the Bernabeu. I mean, unforgettable. Like for me, like that is, I don't remember being so like happy and like celebrating so much as an Arsenal fan, since those games. Like for me, like that run was just iconic. So Real Madrid's amazing. I don't know, have you been to the stadium at all?
I've never been. I went to Madrid when I was like 6 or 7, but I didn't go to any football game at all. So no, I've never been.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a couple of times, like
amazing.
On the stadium tour. I've never been to actually watch a game, and I love to see Arsenal play there, or just really any team after COVID, of course. But yeah, it's just such a huge team, and I feel like if you can't play for them, at least try and play against them.
Of course, score against them. It's a good point. That's that piece of commentary I've memorized, and he doesn't get enough airtime, and this is really annoying time to forget that commentator's name, but he's never really been affiliated, I think, to Sky or BT. And I was in Bolivia for the World Cup in 2018, so I missed all of the local coverage and the craziness that was the UK at the time. But that commentator, who obviously have such good memories from Real Madrid, he commentated it all on international TV, and it just something about his voice and actually like I say, that commentary is on the beginning of our intro for this thing, so it's like I won't do it now, but I do know the words.
I think his voice broke a little bit, didn't it? When a commentator's voice slightly breaks, it's a good goal. Like only a few times does that happen. And to be fair, like we get a lot of criticism, like the English media, but I think we have some of the best commentators in the world, like in terms of the vocab they use, and the Martin Tyler obviously is one of the best. But yeah, it's just iconic.
Yeah, definitely. It's the moment he goes, it's the Gunner Galacticos has scored in the Bernabeu. No more, no less than they deserve. I won't do any more. But maybe
the memories are flooding back. It sounds just like the commentary.
That was exactly. I actually thought that guy was in the room for a second. Again, awful time to forget his name. Well, maybe that's something we should add in. I haven't. I'm going to throw this on you, so we haven't predicted this. But commentator, is there a quick commentary? A commentator in particular you'd like to voice over?
I mean, I like some of the Arabic. The Arab commentators who are just unreal, and the way they say their names. I think there was one the other day describing Bukayo Saka's goal, and he didn't say Saka, he said Bukayo, Bukayo, Bukayo. It was just amazing. Like the commentary there is so passionate. But I would go for Martin Tyler because he he has commentated over some of Arsenal's iconic goals. You know, the Arshavin Barcelona goal is the one I think of immediately. But yeah, Martin Tyler for me. What about you?
Oh, that's a good question. So I I can't believe I'm doing this again, but it would be that guy. Is it Peter Drury? Is that his name?
Yeah,
It might be. Yeah. I just there's something about his voice that really gets me in like the football zone, and it gets me like it's just the way he can talk about like an insignificant corner will get me excited. It's like, you know, and I remember it's the two moments that I remember with him are, like I say, the Henry moment and the Harry Kane against, I think it was Tunisia in the first round of the World Cup this 2018. And yeah, just scenes. Actually, something I didn't ask you, and I don't know if you thought about this, so don't worry if not. Is there a specific Madrid team that you wanted to play against? Is it the Galacticos? Is it that season? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that team was, I wouldn't say it was an unreal team, but in terms of the names, like it was just amazing. So yeah, definitely that Galactico side.
Alrighty. How are we feeling about an occasion? If you affiliated an occasion to it, I think I threw this upon you quite last minute. Doesn't have to be, but you know, some kind of final or.
Yeah, again, predictable, but I would say the Champions League final, because it's a trophy that Arsenal have never won, but they went so close. And yeah, I think that was the only match that I can remember where I cried as an Arsenal fan. I mean, I'm not someone who would cry at a football match usually, but I think I was pretty young, maybe 2006. I was probably maybe 10, 11 years old, or maybe a bit older. And yeah, I just remember I was in my bedroom. I like hid myself away in my bed, and I was in tears, crying. Like I was so upset about that defeat, because it was the manner in which I think Belletti scored, but it was, you know, the goalkeeper Almunia really should have saved those goals as well.
Yeah.
And it's so disappointing as well, like Lehmann getting sent off and Pires getting substituted. It's just like a domino effect, and you know, it all started so well as well with, you know, I think it was that Eboue cross, wasn't it? And Campbell heading it in. And Eboue, funnily enough, is someone that I got really close to when in my previous job, and I actually went on a trip to Japan with him, which was yeah,
nice. What a guy to go to Japan with.
It was a bit of a strange one. I remember it was the Arsenal Japan Supporters Club. They invited Eboue over, and they wanted like a UK journalist to kind of cover it, like the whole event. It was their like 10th anniversary. So I went over. You know, they covered all the flights and everything. It was an unbelievable experience. I'm so grateful to them for that. But I was with Eboue for like the whole week. So I was, you know, like doing like we went to like sumo with Eboue. We went to the like samurai training. He did like samurai training. It was honestly, if you could like dream up a trip to Japan with Eboue, we pretty much like covered everything. And yeah, it was unforgettable. There's actually a video on YouTube. Like if you type in Eboue Japan, it will come up. But it's like, it was really nice, because this is a guy who, you know, there's a lot of media coverage about him around that time, regarding his like personal life and personal issues. But, you know, talking about Eboue now, from what I understand, he's actually in a really good place, and he's happy now. I think he lives in Kenya, or he's got his own football team, and so things are on the up for him, which I'm really happy to say. But yeah, that's my Eboue anecdote.
That is gold. I honestly, there are two people I think I'd like to go to Japan with, or anywhere with, to be honest, just on a trip with, from Arsenal's history, and that is Eboue and Podolski. Like, just some kind of, there would be stories, and I'm sure you've got some that you can't share, just because it's Eboue, and I'm sure he just seems like the most hilarious guy. Is there anything in particular that you remember that was particularly strange or hilarious?
I remember getting drunk with him. I remember we went to like a sushi kind of bar after like an event, And yeah, like we got really drunk. I remember another story. This was actually quite bad on my part because I was so excited to be with an Arsenal or an ex-Arsenal player. For me, some Arsenal fans will probably disagree, but for me, he's like a legend because of the way he carried himself at the club. You know, when he got booed off against Wigan, you know, he was always such a happy, positive guy. And for me, that's what makes him such a kind of legendary figure. And all the players, the ex-players, they will say the same about him. But I remember we were at this event and I was tweeting about it, like typical journalist. I was so excited, and I tweeted where we were in Japan. And when this event finished, we like kind of went outside down the steps, and outside this like restaurant, there was about 30 to 40 like Japanese Arsenal fans and autograph hunters. And the person who ran the event was so angry at me. She was like, why did you tweet about it? And I apologized. I was like, I'm so sorry. Like I was excited. But it was crazy. Like there was little kids and stuff asking Eboue, like putting their Eboue photos in front of him. And we had to kind of usher him into the car because there were so many. It was it was unreal. Like it was like if David Beckham went to Japan, it was that kind of like response because they were so happy to see him. So yeah, that was the one of my like favorite memories. And yeah, looking back on that now, that was kind of like a strange trip, like to say you went to Japan with Eboue. But yeah, what a top guy. And yeah, I must check in with him soon, see how he's getting on.
Yeah, I mean, that's possibly as good as a start to a podcast you could ever get. I mean, Eboue strikes me as someone that would always have time for pretty much anyone he ever met, fans or otherwise. You know, he's just, I remember him very, very well as just a really soulful character, like, and just chipper, lovely guy to have at the club. And I remember Podolski very similarly. You know, it's just this kind of funny character that's, you know, that's brilliant. Well, I wasn't expecting that, and that's possibly the best thing I've heard all year. So that is brilliant. Alrighty, well, look, we'll move on from the occasions. We're at the Champions League final at Highbury. We're playing Real Madrid. Who's the goalkeeper? Would it be Casillas or?
You know what? I actually had a bit of a dilemma with this one. I was thinking of going for Dida, the ex-AC Milan goalkeeper, the Brazilian, because he's kind of like a legendary figure. And yeah, I just thought it'd be cool to score against him. But then I remembered what happened in the summer, and I think this guy has spoken out in the past few weeks and kind of said that Arsenal didn't deserve him, like, or words along those lines. So Emi Martinez is probably someone I'd like to score against and maybe celebrate in front of, Haaland style. I don't know if you saw
I saw
Haaland last night, who celebrated against I think it was Sevilla, wasn't it, in front of the goalkeeper, and got chased by the Sevilla players, which was just unreal. Like, I love Haaland. I love his character. That's the kind of character that makes a good footballer, you know, like has a personality. He's a fun guy. And yeah, that's what I would do. I'd score against Emi Martinez and celebrate in front of him.
That is a surprising answer. Yeah, well, firstly, Haaland is exactly what the game needs. And he's 5 games away in the record that he's got at the moment from being Dortmund's all-time Champions League scorer, which is just like. But anyway, so I actually missed this Martinez thing. So he's someone I've got in my Arsenal logbook as like a bit of a legend. I've always got a soft spot for him, and I feel sorry that he didn't get more chances. But I'm really, really happy with Leno and what he's doing, and I couldn't wish for any better. I think we were just very, very fortunate to have 2 top class keepers. What did he say? I've missed this. I don't know. You can paraphrase if you haven't got it up, I suppose.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think that was me paraphrasing when I said Arsenal didn't deserve him. I don't think that was the exact quote, but he kind of. I think he said along the lines of, you know, it was the right move to make, and I think it was the right move. Like you just said, Toby, I think he made the right decision. Arsenal got a good transfer fee for him, and they used that money to partly buy Thomas Partey as well. So it was a good deal all round. But just because you can tell, like, how much it meant to him when Villa beat Arsenal. And it's one of those, isn't it? When someone leaves the club, it's always good to kind of get one over them. And yeah, but maybe Dida would probably just edge it because he's like a legendary figure of the game. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe we'll have them both in goal, seeing it's as a dream scenario, so you can score against both of them at the same time.
Maybe rush goalie.
Rush goalies, let's do it. Yeah, okay. Actually, on that note, do you reckon are rush goalies like actual goalies? Because I suppose they can actually go out their areas. Do you know what I mean? But maybe a conversation for another day. Because in five-a-side, obviously, you can't go out.
Yeah, it's like a makeshift goalie, isn't it? It's like what we were talking about earlier with the when you're at school and you kind of just had to do a job in goal because you were the last one picked. It's that kind of situation. But or it's because none of you are good at goal, so you just kind of take it in turns to be rush goalie. But
yeah, you'll dig your heels in and just go like, no, I'm not doing that. So you just go, right, take it in turns for rush goalie. Okay, so I'll set the stage because this is where we're getting into the meat. This is where we go, right, this is where I'm going to score the goal. So we're at Highbury playing the Galacticos of Real Madrid from 2006 and 7 with all Beckham and all that sort of jazz. We've got Martin Tyler commentating, ready, he's set. You're at the Champions League final. We've got both Martinez and Dida in goal. Or either or, but probably Dida. Okay, so talk me through from the assist and who's assisting you to the final goal.
So the assist, I was thinking of a few people. A few people crossed my mind. I think Mesut Ozil was obviously like the main one because, when you think of assisting, you kind of think of Mesut Ozil. But then I remembered Cesc Fabregas and, what he achieved in his time at Arsenal was spectacular. And I think if he stayed at the club, he would have been a legend, would have been a club legend. Unfortunately, he went to Barcelona, his dream club, and then to Chelsea, which we don't want to talk about. But Fabregas, for me, I like him a lot. And I like what he's done since kind of joining Monaco. He's done a lot of kind of Arsenal media stuff. He did something with Arsblog. He's done a lot of interviews about Arsenal. And you can tell that he has that affiliation for the club after joining from such a young age. He was pretty much brought up at Arsenal. I know he used to play at La Masia, but for me, he's like an Arsenal Hale End product. And yeah, I would have Cesc Fabregas assisting me purely for the fact that, a lot of my footballing memories kind of consist of him playing in that Arsenal midfield. I just remember him kind of running the show. You mentioned earlier the goal against Juve. Yeah, I remember that pretty clearly, and that's kind of sparked him into amazing form. And he didn't really look back after that goal. And I think for me, Fabregas is one of Arsenal's best ever midfielders.
Yeah, I feel the same. I think I know he went to Chelsea, but I don't attach that blame, if there is blame, to him. I think his first choice was Arsenal. So my heart of hearts, I feel, and especially the way he's reacted after, like you say, all sorts of things on Twitter I've seen and podcasts he's joined. He really talks like that's his club, Arsenal. And I sound like the same as you. When you're growing up, he was the one that was kind of at the center of it all. And what I didn't appreciate until sort of like now, really, I don't know if you're the same, but it was just how young he was. Crazy. Like, he was doing all sorts of things when he was that young and like bossing in midfield. I mean, we've got someone like Bukayo, who is, smashing it from the wing, or various positions as the case may be. And I think I saw some stats and Bukayo is very, I think he's one assist ahead, but the same amount of goals as Fabregas at the same age. But I suppose that what's amazing for Fabregas there is that he did that from a central midfield position, not taking anything away from Saka, of course.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think Bukayo Saka and Fabregas maybe have those similarities in more the fact that as well that they were so young when they made their debuts for the club. I mean, Fabregas was even younger, wasn't he? He was 16 when he made his debut in the League Cup against Rotherham.
Good memory.
Yeah, I remember speaking to Ryan Smith, who played. I think he played in that team that night. He's an ex-Arsenal player. He retired early. You should get him on the pod as well. He'd be a great guest. I'll put a word.
Amazing. Please do.
But yeah, like I spoke to him about Cesc, and he said that from that age he could tell that he was going to be one of the best in the world. He just had everything, and he played like years above his age. He was like so mature on the ball and could see passes that other players couldn't see. So it's amazing to see Fabregas's rise. We've seen it kind of like, together as Arsenal fans, like from the age of 16 up until where he is now. He's almost kind of finished his career. So I like that. I like to see that. But again, it's just a shame he didn't finish his career at Arsenal.
Yeah, it was devastating. I remember when he left. How old was he when he left? Was he like 22, 24? It was young, I remember. But at the time, I thought he'd been around forever. Pure legend. You can't speak any higher of Fabregas, and I'm just gutted that he couldn't be there to help us win anything in the end. But alrighty, so we've got Fabregas assisting you. How's this goal happening then? Do you have a vision of how he's assisting you and what you're going to do when you score, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I had a couple of ideas. I had the Bergkamp goal, against Newcastle in my mind. And I thought to myself, this is going to sound so mainstream. Like I'm just picking off like the most obvious answers for each question. So instead I'd go for, maybe it's less obvious, I don't know. The Adebayor goal at White Hart Lane, where he flicked it up from Fabregas's pass and volleyed it past, I don't know, was it Paul Robinson or?
Must have been, I can't remember. Yeah,
it was a long time ago, wasn't it? But I remember that goal, and I remember the Adebayor commentary because it was dynamite, absolute dynamite. That's what he said. And yeah, for me, that was one of the best Arsenal goals I've seen. But I think Henry scored a similar one, didn't he, against United?
About to say, yeah,
years ago. But that Adebayor goal, the technique was superb, and he was a great player for Arsenal, to be fair. But again, he kind of ruined his Arsenal legacy by joining Manchester City instead.
Yeah, I feel like he had his best years at Arsenal. I kind of feel. He was really good for a bit. I think he kind of lost it by the time he got to Spurs to a point. He was at Madrid actually for a bit, wasn't he? Weirdly, but
Tottenham as well.
Yeah, he kind of just went all over the place. But yeah, that goal, it was, there's something about, a well-placed goal I can really appreciate, a nice finesse. I think Henry's one where he did flick up, I think was technically probably better in some ways. And it whilst it had power, there was dip and that sort of something, that sort of stuff. But Adebayor's, I just remember by the time he'd flicked it up and just abolished the net, it just almost broke it. And I think there's something so just sexy about how that guy just literally smashes through, and there's just no chance.
That's the title of the podcast sorted. Sexy Adebayor goal. There we go. Yeah.
I think it's something along that. But our last one was showers, not growers. So I think we could probably keep along that theme.
It's a good theme you've got there.
Try to keep it above board at some points, but where we can, make it as crude as possible. That's a hell of a finish there. Is that something that we can affiliate to your current abilities? Is that something we see on a five-a-side or Monday league pitch every day?
No chance. Absolutely no chance I could score a goal. Maybe if I got really lucky. Sometimes you get those kind of volleys, don't you, where you kind of flick it up and you smash it into the net and you're like, wow, how did I do that? And you realise it's kind of just pure luck. I've done it a couple of times.
Don't say that.
But, volleying is probably one of the hardest skills in football. It takes a lot of practice, as I'm sure you know. And I don't know. I'm sounding very serious now, like I'm a football academy coach. But yeah, I wish I could score a goal like that.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's something about when you catch it and it just doesn't feel like you've even kicked it. This is going to mean nothing to either you or any of the listeners, but this is my favorite volley, is when me and my friend Marcus were playing in the street, and we were using, the street signs that are two posts and then a white thing. There was two on the opposite corners of the street. We used those as goals. It was 2-on-2, and we'd kick the ball away and it was so far away. And as a joke, I said, go on, put it on for a volley. And it was coming from the right, and I'm right-footed. and I was about like 15 yards out, which is quite a long way when it's a tiny goal. And I just he just crossed it in. And I just it was coming from the right side. So it was probably the more difficult. And I just caught it on the volley, and it came as ever off the top of the thing and posted down on this street sign. And I think that's the pinnacle of my football career. And there was 3 people watching and a part of it, unfortunately.
I think Toby's FIFA Street Memories is probably another podcast altogether, isn't it, really?
Oh, yeah. Well, we can jump on and we'll do another one of those then, because we could talk about that for hours with tennis balls, having to go under different cars to try and fetch the ball and all sorts of things.
Did you ever play Nutmeg Rush at school?
Don't know. I don't think we did. We might have called it something else. What was yours? I don't think I played that.
Nutmeg Rush. I mean, me and my friends would say that we're the pioneers of that game. We kind of established it in the UK, but I don't think we did. It's basically where you get a water bottle or kind of any object that you can kick on the ground, and you just try to put it through someone's legs. And then if you do put it through someone's legs, you basically bundle them or jump on them. It's not the nicest game, but I have a lot of memories playing Nutmeg Rush with my mates at school, and it was some good times.
Well, look, it sounds quite mean. I'm sure we did something similar, but you don't make the rules, Chris. You know, you've got to bundle someone. Which actually takes us quite nicely, maybe to the next one. I don't know if you've got a bundle in your celebration. Okay, so you've just scored against Madrid, and the Adebayor against Tottenham style. We've smashed it in the top left, I think. Top left, I think. How are you celebrating? What's your immediate rush?
Well, now I'm already regretting going so early on the opposition, Real Madrid. And I probably, if it's possible, I don't know what the rules of the podcast are, I'd probably change the opposition to Spurs at the Bernabeu.
Nice. Okay.
I mean, Spurs wish they could play at the Bernabeu. I would be celebrating in front of the Spurs fans. Adebayor style, how he did when he played for Man City, he scored that goal against Arsenal. I'd be doing the same kind of celebration, almost inciting those fans to be a bit angry at me. Purely because I think we've seen Thierry Henry do it, we've seen Adebayor do it against Arsenal. But yeah, I love those kind of celebrations because that's what football's all about, passion and supporters, getting annoyed, but it's all part of the game. And yeah, that's how I'd celebrate.
Yeah, I actually have a similar. I would be playing against Tottenham last minute, and celebrating in front of the fans. Basically, my goal would be, I don't really know what I'd do. I haven't actually thought about this pattern for myself, but I would want someone to be angry enough to throw like a heavy bottle at me or something. Do you know what I mean? Not that I'm, promoting that, but that's the level of anger that I'd want Spurs fans at. Like you say, we've seen it before with Adebayor and all that sort of thing. And, it was the Thierry Henry one at White Hart Lane where we were winning the league there and all we needed was a point. And I think they'd just scored. It's an Henry famous interview, I think. And he just says that they were told not to celebrate because it would incite stuff. And then Tottenham scored like a relatively last minute equaliser. And they were going nuts as if they'd beaten us. And Henry was like, you do realise we're about to win the league at your place. And then apparently they were just tearing into Henry. So I was like, all right, well, that's it. We're celebrating. And it was really nice of Tottenham, actually, to be fair, because obviously we won the league there. We lifted the trophy, took it to the centre spot and lifted it there with Ashley Cole and Thierry Henry and the gang. And it was really nice because I don't know if you've seen the new Spurs stadium, but they've got a centre spot commemoration where the centre spot was. So, which is really nice of them because that's the only place that a league was ever lifted, and that was by Arsenal. So it was really nice of them to nod to our victory there.
We've got to get our Tottenham jibes in the pod. It's got to be at least 2 or 3, and that's one of them.
That is. I mean, yeah, they're quite slim pickings at the moment due to the league position, but I'm hoping that doesn't bite us in the arse now that we've got them on Sunday. Sunday? Yeah, I think so.
Sunday.
Okay. So we've celebrated in front of the Spurs fans. We've incited a lot of anger in a respectable way, of course. So we've finished the game. We've beaten them, of course. And so we've got 2 more sections left to kind of close it up. So we've got the post-match interview, followed by kind of any other business. So I don't know if you have any other ideas, but Yeah. So you've got a camera in your face. You've got a young Chris in the audience who is interviewing and maybe asks you for a comment on your goal. What do you think you say?
Yeah, I was torn between doing like a Haaland kind of one word answer, which, I find quite funny. But if I'm the journalist, I'd be so annoyed. Just the one word answers. It's like the journalist's worst nightmare. But yeah, I did write, there's no I in team, but there's an I in Chris. I told you that before the pod. And I thought to myself,
love that.
Yeah, but I thought if I go with that, that's just going to make me sound really arrogant, and it's not a true reflection of my personality. But then again, celebrating in front of the Tottenham fans is quite arrogant as well. So maybe I would go with that. Yeah.
I like it. I really like it. I was quite disappointed when you said that you weren't going to use that. And the rest of, for the listeners' benefit, the rest has been a surprise. But you did run me past that before, and I'm all in. I like. Do you know what? If you're going to say it in front, go in front of the fans. And this is about you, this podcast. This isn't about the team. We've talked about the assist, but we're not talking about the rest of the team. This is your goal. This is your moment. Like, lap it up. That's what I say.
Yeah, I certainly am. Look, I'll be so happy to score that goal. Maybe when I go to sleep tonight, I'm gonna be dreaming of scoring that Adebayor-esque goal, and then I'm gonna wake up and I remember that I'm not a professional footballer.
Hey, the best years are ahead. Don't worry about it. It all could happen. Don't worry. You've got the connections, and you just give Eboue a call. He'll get you somewhere, I'm sure. So, okay, the one-liner I in team. Okay, great. We didn't really mention this before, but is there anything else you want to add to this? Is there any other? This is the any other business section. Again, throw this on you. Is there anything else you want to add to this for flavour?
Yeah, I mean, I was a bit confused by this one. I wasn't sure what you meant by business, so I just wrote down a minute ago DVD and mugs, because I kind of like commemorate the goal by kind of putting it on, very Tottenham kind of idea, by making a DVD of like a goal or a win. That's it's a very Tottenham thing to do, and a mug as well. So every time I wake up in the morning, I have my coffee, I remember the goal I scored. So, but I'm not sure that's what you meant by any other business.
No, that is absolutely perfect, because I think by any other business we kind of mean, what else is there that we're not asking that you really want to add to this, and that is absolutely spot on. I wonder if you could use that DVD to, I don't know if you've seen some of I think they call them Led by Donkeys. It's a political movement. And they like flash political like images up onto Westminster. What was it? Houses of Parliament. That's what they do. And then they just, show various videos. So I wonder if you can use like a massive projector of some kind for your DVD up on the new Spurs stadium. Maybe on match day, maybe on their match day, and just, flip your goal up there.
You're giving Arsenal fans an idea, what to potentially do the next time, or maybe on Sunday if there's a win. That's a potential idea, but I'm sure Arsenal fans won't be celebrating the win in that style. A win over Tottenham is kind of expected, I
hope so. I mean, yeah, I think we've laid out a lot of jibes against Spurs here, so I'm really hoping that that we do actually beat them. And to be honest, by the time we release this, that game might already be over. But we can talk about that after this. I don't know. So I hope so. Alrighty. Well, that's your goal. So I'm just going to run through it one more time. And there's been a few corrections in this. I'm going to maybe make a suggestion during it. So we're at Highbury, which is the home of football in many ways for Arsenal fans. We're playing Spurs, I think, or are we playing Madrid? I think. What do you think?
I think we're going to go for Spurs because it's okay. But then, no, I'm not sure. I feel like it has to be Real Madrid. Yeah, I think we're giving Spurs a bit too much airtime. I mentioned them too much in the past.
Yeah.
10 minutes. So let's go for Real Madrid.
How about this? Yeah, here's a compromise. It's a dream scenario. So how about you're at Highbury, you're playing the Galacticos, the 2007 Real Madrid team, but there is a small section of Spurs fans that genuinely believe they think they're watching Spurs, so that when they see your goal go in, they think that they've conceded. So it's kind of like a double whammy,
I'll take that. Yeah, I'll take that.
It's a very dream scenario.
I'll go with it. Yeah.
Okay, so we've got that. Okay, so we're at Highbury playing Galacticos, but there's a small section of fans that aren't Real Madrid fans. They are Spurs fans, believing they're watching Tottenham. You've got Martin Tyler commentating with a close second. If he can't turn up, then you've got the Arabic commentators. It's the Champions League final. You've got Martinez in goal or Dida. I can't remember what we decided.
I think go for Dida. Yeah,
Dida. Okay, so we've got Dida in. Fabregas is assisting, and he's pinging it through to you so that you can flip it up in an Adebayor fashion and bosh it into the top corner on the volley after flipping it up. And you're going to celebrate in front of the Spurs fan section of the Real Madrid stadium, of course. You're going to come out and say in the post-match interview that there's no I in team, there's an I in Chris. Really ramp up the arrogance. And then we're going to get that recorded on DVD, put it on mugs, and we're going to, in the DVD section, we could project it all over Tottenham. I've included that bit. I don't know if you want to keep that, but that was my idea. But yeah, I think for what we can do with the DVD, maybe you make the DVD and then I'll deal with what we do with it.
Let's do it. I mean, the next step is to kind of make this happen. Let's get Fabregas, Adebayor, Dida, get them all on board, and we can go to the Bernabeu and recreate this. Maybe in a few months' time. Let's see what we can do.
I have no doubt that every player you mentioned there is listening to this. So I reckon get them all involved. Lads, if you're listening, we're getting the band back together.
Have you heard of Clubhouse? I downloaded that new app the other day. I think Cesc Fabregas is on it. And he followed me, which was kind of strange. He doesn't follow me anywhere else. So maybe I'll send a message to Cesc Fabregas after the podcast. And I'll just say, I mentioned you on the Arsenal podcast. And do you fancy recreating a goal? I'm sure we know what the answer is going to be, but yeah, look, Fabregas is one of the best Arsenal midfielders, as I said, and yeah, I had to mention him in this.
Absolutely. Well, if you can leverage your Clubhouse status and get him on this podcast, I think I don't know. I think I might love you forever. I don't know if I'd be able to handle it, but Alrighty, well, let's leave it there. I think we've been recording for a good amount of time, and I'm really happy with the goal we've got. I can't thank you enough for coming on. Like, that pretty much has gone as well as I could ever have dreamed of. It's been brilliant having you on, Chris. I can't thank you enough for coming on, and I'm sure everybody listening is really, really enjoyed listening to your dream goal. And I hope that this does manifest itself into your real dreams this evening.
Cheers, Toby. No, I appreciate that, and it's been a pleasure speaking with you as well. Nice to meet you, and hopefully I'll come on again soon, and Arsenal will finish the season on a high as well.
Awesome. Yeah, you too, mate. So yeah, thanks so much again. All listeners at home, I hope this becomes a regular fixture, and we'll bring some more people onto the podcast as and when we reach out to people and we get some momentum. So and hopefully when you're listening to this, we'll have finished the season in a far stronger position where we are now. We'll have beaten Tottenham, Olympiacos and all that sort of jazz. So thanks very much, and hope we'll see you on the regular Tuesday podcast as well. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.